Today I wanted to talk a little bit about bindings, leather bindings in particular. And that's a little bit of a precarious kind of topic to approach because binders have been using their bindings for 500 years as a palette. And they have made all sorts of innovations, and there are numerous names for bindings. Causeways and Edwards of Halifax and Grolier, and there are onlays and inlays and gilt stamping and devices and panels and all kinds of different things that the binders have used over the years. But basically what I wanted to do is just the basics. We get calls again from people who are wondering what they have or wanting us to help them through a description that they've seen online or something like that. So we just want to do the basics. Many different animals have been used for bindings, but the general ones that we find, particularly here in America, this is full calf. We in America had lots of cows, so we used calf quite frequently. It's a good utilitarian binding. This book happens to be an old Bible, and so you know it would have been used an awful lot, and so we have a good utilitarian full calf. If you get a little fancy, this is full polished calf, and it's easily recognizable by the fact that it is polished, has almost a reflective surface. Another binding that you see pretty frequently is what we call Morocco, and I've used a big example here. Morocco is a goat skin, and it's kind of bumpy, so you can see the bumps as it goes through here. And again, if you get a little fancy, this is crushed Morocco, or sometimes called Levant, and again, it's a beautiful, beautiful leather, and used in very upscale bindings and upscale books. So those are all full bindings. But we want to talk a little bit about, well, this happens to be, see, there's just a leather here on the spine. This white leather is called vellum, V-E-L-L-U-M. And it's calf skin that's been treated in a particular way. And it's only here on the spine, so we call this quarter. So this book is bound in quarter vellum and marbled papers. If you have a binding that has the quarter and then the corners done, then that's half. And this calf binding has been dyed black, and so we have a half calf binding with marbled boards. If it gets a little bit more leather on it, then we have 3/4, and you can see the corners are now pretty well up into the cover. So this is 3/4 Morocco and marbled boards. So what did we learn here? Let me show. This binding, do you remember what this might be? It is a full calf binding. It happens to be a religious book that would have been used an awful lot here in America. It's a guy named Lorenzo Dow. They called him Crazy Lorenzo. He went around the southeast preaching here and there. And this is full Morocco or Levant, crushed Morocco. And again, this is 3/4 Levant in cloth, as opposed to this one, which happens to be 3/4 Levant and marbled boards. This one, they got a little fancier too. We were talking earlier about some of the onlays and inlays, and this particular fella did some inlays with little flowers on the spine. What's this? Half calf and marbled boards. And here's our polished calf again. This one has some decorations added to it. A lot of gilt stamping, but you can see how polished it is, polished calf. This is a special binding. This is called tree calf. You can see why it's called tree calf, because, of course, it looks a lot like a tree. It is a calf that's been immersed in chemicals. And one of the unfortunate things is that they fall apart a lot because of the chemicals. And this, remember our white binding? This is a vellum binding. This is full vellum. And you see it an awful lot in the older books from the 1500s, that kind of thing. So that gives you a little bit of vocabulary to use as you're working online. You know, we do these rare book moments just so that people can have a little better idea of what the rare book world is saying or doing. And we hope you've enjoyed it, and take a minute to look at some of the others.